Okay, so thank you very much, Aday. It's lovely to catch up with you again. We're going to go through your journey of recovery, and I'm really honored and blessed that you're happy to share this with us. I first met you at the start of September in 2022, and we had about 7 sessions over a 10-month period. With our last session being a year ago, pretty much. We had our last session about a year ago. Um, so if it's okay with you, can you give us some case history background, some symptoms, some of the tests that you went through, and like the impact it had on your life at the time?
Sure. Thank you, Karl. And I'm very happy to do this. And really, I want to start by saying that from everything I've done, you were by far the most help that I received. It was mental support mainly, and obviously physical support in so many ways. So I started feeling symptoms in April 22. I actually was on abroad in Colombia, and I was having a great time. But suddenly I started feeling some tingling sensations, and I didn't know why. And I started worrying. I started even thinking, what did I do last night? Was I that drunk? And stuff like that. So I ignored it, obviously, till I came back to London. And as soon as I came back to London in May, I did various tests. I did a sexual test, and then I went and saw a urologist, and that urologist did tests on me. He actually, I did a cystoscopy, which is really not fun, but we did everything. And the results always came back as there's nothing wrong with you. And I said, okay, so hopefully this goes away. And it didn't. In fact, it started getting worse. And by June, I started feeling a pain literally in my genital area, a constant knowing pain. It wasn't like excruciating, but it was debilitating. I mean, I couldn't do anything. I couldn't think of anything else. And it was very worrying and depressing. And so I have a friend of mine who's also a urologist, and I was talking to him and explaining all the procedures I've been and what. And he actually said, I think you have chronic prostatitis, which is a form of the pelvic pain syndrome issues. And I said, okay, so what do we do? He said, well, it could be two types, bacterial or non-bacterial. And the best thing is go on antibiotics. And he put me on another medicine. I can't, I don't know if you have it on your notes, Karl, but some sort of other
Yeah, it's an alpha blocker.
alpha blocker, yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for 12 weeks
Mhm.
and nothing. The pain continued. So again, I was very down. I didn't want to talk to my family. I didn't want to do any work. That's not unusual, but I didn't want to do any work even more. And the end of it was I really said I have to do something about it. So I went online and started searching anything and everything. And luckily, I came across your website, Karl, and I contacted you via email. And that's when we started talking about it. And from then, things changed because you normalized it for me. You said, there's nothing wrong. This is life kicking you in the, yeah,
Mhm.
remember? And that you just, need to accept it and be healthy and give it time and do the exercises that you showed me. And we did that. And that was the beginning of recovery for me, to be honest, because what you gave me is two things. One, hope and normalization of the situation, as in, okay, because it's crazy when somebody tells you there's nothing wrong, there's nothing wrong. There is something wrong, and I'm not mad, not to that level. And and so that was the big thing. So mentally, I started saying, okay. And then I don't know if you want to jump in, but there were, you showed me diet, you showed me exercises, you talked to me about how to become more confident because I didn't want to leave the house. I didn't even want to go take a piss. I was like, I don't know what to do. And you said, no, start doing it. Don't worry, start doing it, start doing it. You're not going to make things worse. And this is not the end of you. That's one thing you said to me, which really stuck. This is not the end of you. This is not how it will pass.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it did. I mean, my advice to everyone out there who's going through it now is a lot of things, but I think the most important thing is true belief that it will pass. If you are in that situation, it will pass. And I know exactly what you're thinking. Oh, but I'm that guy. And I was that guy too. In fact, I am the Mr. 1%. If there's 1% chance of things going wrong, for me, it's 100%. So I am that guy. But it did pass. And gradually and slowly, I don't know if I can say this, but you actually recommended a book to me. It was The Way Out, which is dealing with chronic pain. And that was also another, I strongly recommend that book for anyone going through this. It's by
Alan Gordon.
Alan Gordon. And that was really good. I went through that book twice, and I also followed his techniques of basically training your brain and your neurological system to start sending different messages. And that worked as well. So in time, it fades and you start doing life again and you start worrying about other problems like toothache or something. And eventually, in about, I guess it took a year and a bit, which is people who are just starting out are saying, a year. Yeah, it is a year. I'm not gonna lie, but it is a year. And in that year, there's improvements, there are moments, there are things. It's good to have support. Listen to Karl if you're with Karl. If you're not with Karl and you just got across this, then call Karl. And I'm not getting paid here. I just mean it, honestly. So eventually, we had our last sessions, and I think I remember it was getting better, and I was going to travel, and I moved countries, as you know, and everything. And it did fade and fade and fade until today. I can honestly say, I want to say 100%, but I'm going to say 99% because every now and then I feel something, but that's something I know because I haven't slept for a long time, or I've been traveling a lot, or I've played sports a lot, and stuff like that. And so it's tiredness, and I feel it at such a low level that if I haven't gone through any of this, it would be nothing. I wouldn't even notice it. But immediately I say, oh, yeah, I must be tired. And it's seconds, honestly. So it is 100%. I'll go back and say I'm 100% cured. The only reason I'm saying that 1% thing is to be transparent fully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that is where I am.
Thank you so much, Oday. We're going to just go back and unpack some of that, if that's all right, add a little bit more depth in there as well. That's golden. And, your journey to begin with, April in Colombia, you'd been to see GPs, urologist, your family friend, more testing, antibiotics, like I said, we did the alpha blocker that was in there as well, blood test, the cystoscopy, supplements. You were doing every single thing. Your GP extended the medication a little bit longer. and you went to Professor Langley as well. So just
Oh,
before you
yes,
saw
yes.
me, yeah, you went to go see Professor Langley, who was recommended to you by someone else.
Yes.
And we need to point out that's the like that pathway there, going down the medical route is so important. We need to rule out medical flags. We need to rule out anything sinister. We need to make sure that there's nothing going on here. And it's really frustrating. You mentioned this earlier on, Oday, but it's really frustrating. Why have I got all this going on here when all of my tests, everything's coming back negative? And it's very confusing. It's very unsettling. Then am I going mad? Like, what's going on here? Is there something that hasn't been found? Do I need more testing going on? So you did all the right things, but it doesn't mean that that's like reassuring, does it? It doesn't mean that when a test come back negative, it's reassuring.
Thank you, Carl, for reminding me, because yes, I really exhausted the medical process.
Mhm.
And of course, I think number one thing for anybody is to get proper medical clearance, because it could be something else. And in a way, I hope it's something else, because then it's easily cured most of the time, without thinking of the worst case scenarios. So I remember now that yes, I had GPs and medicals, and I remember I was drinking nettle tea. I stopped eating red meat. I stopped drinking caffeine. I stopped a lot of things. I'm trying to remember now, and supplements. I took so many prostate supplements. And I remember actually Professor Langley, I took him all the supplements and he looked at me and he said, "Do you want my honest opinion? This is all very, it's take it or leave it stuff. It's not gonna change anything. It really is time, relax, it will go away." He did actually say these things. He was a good at his field, I'm sure. Um, However, saying that, Carl, I think all that stuff did help. I mean, the stopping caffeine, the stopping the red meat, the taking herbal stuff like nettle tea. I'm sure all that stuff helped generally as a whole body thing. And if you do that, then your body cures everything else, right? That's why you got it in the first place, because I wasn't taking care of myself for many, many years. I lived like a rock star without the fame and fortune. So, so yeah, that is very true, and I remember now all that. So today, on that note, actually, I still am not drinking that much caffeine. It sort of became a habit with me. I don't need it. Why drink it? But I am like having one coffee in the morning that is caffeinated, and then I stop. Even if I have like a diet Coke, which I really reduced that stuff. I
Mm.
would have a decaf diet Coke.
Yeah.
Um, in terms of red meat, to be honest with you, I'm eating it again. I haven't stopped. Um, but again, I've reduced it so much, but I did cut it out for at least 6, 7 months, totally out. I mean, none. I ate white meats like chicken, but not red meats. So I'm not a vegetarian. I tried, but I'm not in that generation. I don't know what generation I'm in, but we like pets, but we don't see steak as a pet.
Yeah.
So yeah, I it's thank you for reminding me of all that. And
Hmm. I've got so you were on so just a little bit background here of things that you were doing. So people might recognize some of these things that O'Day was taking: tamsulosin, Nurofen, cocodamol, paracetamol, Graminex, prostate bio, and bee pollen were some of the other things that you were taking when we first met as well. And it's pretty typical. Um, and you did the right things. You made those lifestyle changes and it started to move your system in the right direction. Now, when we met, um, a lot of it is reassurance and education, you know, giving you key messages that this will pass. It won't happen straight away. And then we had our first proper session. I gave you some advice in September, and then we had our first proper session in October. So were there key techniques that you felt? We mentioned there red meats, you mentioned caffeine, you mentioned some movements, and you mentioned the book by Ellen Gordon, The Way Out as well. Were there other things that you felt, were there one or two techniques that you felt that just stuck and you were able to use that moving further forwards with you?
The exercise bit. So I remember I wasn't very active, and I actually want to thank you for something because paddle tennis that I'm now a very, very big fan of, and I'm not that great, but I love playing it, was because of you. So just going back, I walked a bit here and there, and then I stopped because of all this. And I remember you did two things. You encouraged me to keep walking, but you also said, take up something else, something that's going to be slightly more physically challenging and occupy your mind, to be honest. I
Mm.
remember that. And my wife was at the time doing some lessons for paddle, and I went with her, and I loved it. And now I'm better than her. And, and and so I took that up. And you also gave me a set of exercises, if you remember, the pelvic exercises, which I did religiously for a while. Now, not so much, but I did religiously for a while. Um, so I think the key point here to take from all of this is physical movement is important. It's actually better for you to think and feel and do normal. And normal, healthy equals there's got to be some exercise in your schedule, whatever your schedule is. I don't care how busy you are. If you're the head of Apple, find time to exercise.
Mm.
I think that was good physically and mentally, of course. Um, uh, so that part that you introduced me to was very helpful, and I'm still carrying it on at pretty much the same level. Maybe I've slacked off a bit with the physical exercises, but I really should go back. I mean, it's I'm not saying don't do it. I'm saying I am lacked not doing it as much because I'm better, and I you know how you get better and but you don't want to go back to old habits because that's how we got there in the first place, right? So so that was very key. And
Mm.
as you said, the mental support. You see, I don't know, everyone's different, but for me, I have to get my head around it. I have to convince myself that what I'm doing is correct and helpful, and it becomes correct and helpful because it is correct and helpful. And that's what I think I will go back and always say what I got from you the most. You brought that back to me. Uh, so whatever you do, and I think there's so many things, I'm sure you tell all your clients, there's so many things you can do. And here, what's the most important? Uh,
Mm.
uh, the belief that you are going to get better and what you're doing will bring benefits, and it's only a matter of time. And the quicker you do that, I think the quicker you'll recover.
Yeah, yeah. It's very easy. Thank you, Aday. That's gold. It's really brilliant messaging there as well. It's very easy to think, oh my God, I can't do anything. I can't do anything. I'm so afraid. You weren't leaving the house. You weren't doing anything like that. And it's very easy for people to go in their shell and to hide and to be full of uncertainty. Um, and then it really does get in our head, and then we don't feel like we can do anything. Every little change, every little sensation, everything we do, was that it? Was that what caused it? Is that what's causing this flare up? It can really, really start to shrink our lives. So spot on. Starting to lead a more normal existence, starting to do things that are relevant and have meaning for you and are a great distraction. I remember a conversation we had about walking, and
Mhm.
and you said you are walking, but all the time that you're walking, you're just constantly thinking about what's going on down here. So I said, right, we need to do something different. Either walk with someone else, listen to something, be aware of the environment you're in, but let's get you out of here and focusing down here as well. It's tough. It's not easy, is it?
No, no, it really wasn't easy. I don't wish it on anyone. And the problem is it's very hard for other people to understand what you're going through because to the naked eye, there's nothing wrong with you. And yes, it's not life-threatening, but it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And and so it's a very internal thing. And I had a very supportive wife and family and you know and it helps a lot. But they don't know. I mean, they go on about their business. They don't know what's mental and physical pain you're going through. You know, if you have a broken arm, it's obvious. If you have a disease that you need to take medication for, or you know, go into hospital, unfortunately, or something, it's obvious. This is not obvious. This is like there's nothing wrong with you. Just get over it. And in fact, that was one of my first urologist, which I disliked at the end literally told me just get on with it, you know, it's mind over matter, almost like telling me, hey, grow up, don't be such a wuss, you know, and that's coming from a urologist,
Hmm. Mm.
you know, so it was very very lonely place actually.
Yeah, and confusing, right? Clearly you are feeling pain. You're not showing up at a urologist office just for, for
Laugh.
giggles. Yeah, exactly, for a laugh. I just want to hang out for 10 minutes and pay you loads of money. No, and unfortunately, because of the time slot you're allocated with the urologist and because they don't often have the best bedside manner, there are some incredible urologists out there. There are some amazing urologists, but there are some,
For
unfortunately,
sure, yeah.
who don't take this condition seriously, and the messages that we're often then given just aren't helpful, and then can play into a feeling of uncertainty and what next as well. But you're doing great. Like, you're looking healthy, you're looking fit. I know you've moved. I know you're about to go to France, I think, for a month as well. You're doing paddle. You're just living life again, Oday. So, this big, dark, uncertain cloud for over a year that was hanging over your head, and lots of uncertainty. And now you're living life again. And like I said, it's a real pleasure to see you a year on from our last appointment, and you're still doing a lot of the things, not out of fear. You're not exercising out of fear. You're not reducing coffee out of fear. You're not living the life that you have out of fear of symptoms coming back. You're living life again, and it's great to see.
Actually, fear is the word. It's the fear is the worst thing. The fear cycle is the worst thing. It's you fear, then you feel pain, you fear more, you feel more pain, and it's a vicious cycle. Um, so, but it's hard not to be in fear mode, especially when you're first going through it. Um, so again, I am in a much better place. I am living life. It's gone back to normal, and that's a good normal. And I'm not fearing anything now. I've almost forgotten about it. It's almost like a distant memory now. Uh, and I want to portray that to people that really, again, I said it in the beginning, is this will pass. This will pass. You do have to put effort, you know, you do have to put effort. You do have to change your ways, but not that drastically. I mean, I'm not a completely different person. I haven't, you know, become a super athlete that hugs trees. I'm still the same guy, you know, that I was before, but I'm just taking care of myself as much as I can better. And I do slip. I do slip, of course. We all do. I kind of slip more than most people, but but I have to just rein it back when I realize, not because I'm afraid that this is coming back,
Mm.
because where I am, I don't know, some people are younger. So I'm at an age where everything is like creaking anyway. You know, I'm 53 and I need to be in a better situation. And it was actually, I mean, this is going to sound crazy, but it kind of was a blessing I got this thing, because if I didn't, I could have got into a worse situation. And so this sort of gave me a hard slap, but not a fatal one.
Mm. It's often that people say this when we've come through a life-changing condition like pelvic pain, and it gives you a slap or a kick or a punch or all of those things in places we don't want to have the symptoms, and it really does start to question our well-being, like the core of our well-being, what it means to be a man. And because of the location of pelvic pain, it
Indeed.
affects us at our absolute core. How can I be this man, this person, when everything I'm getting my symptoms over is massively influencing me, the way I think, the way I act, the way I move, the way I behave. It's right at the very core of our very existence. So I hear this an awful lot, Oday, and as you said, you wouldn't wish this upon anyone, right? And neither of us would do. But having gone through what you've gone through and come out the other side, and now in a better place for a multitude of different reasons, there's you're saying there's a bit of a blessing there as well. So I'm glad you brought this up.
Yes, I did. And it's funny, I just got a sort of a thought in my mind. I used to watch these videos that you had on your website, and I used to say, I wish one day I can be on doing one of these videos. And literally, I just thought of this now. Literally, it just came up. And so it's actually a good feeling. And whoever's watching this can also do this video hopefully soon. Um, so yes, definitely. I thought what were the last thing you said was about um,
A bit of a blessing. So you've gone full
yeah,
circle. Yeah, you saw this, you hoped to be there, you're now doing this, and it's a blessing. And there can be positivity to take away from the condition. Not at the time, right?
no,
If I ask you mid symptoms and mid distress, is this a good thing for you to be having in your life? You'd tell me where to go.
yeah, no, it's not a good thing at any level. Really, don't let's not give the wrong message out here. This is a horrible thing. You don't want it. Um, so there is no positivity in getting it. The positive part is that you get through it, and what you learn from it helps you for the rest of your life.
Mhm,
Um, that's the hope. That's what are happening to me. That's how I'm seeing it. And it's helped me in so many ways, because now if something else happens, like I feel a pain here or a pain there, it's sort of like I'm in the same frame mind of calming down, relaxing, saying, okay, let's see what it is. But, luckily there's been nothing major. And obviously, I don't know how that's going to be. But in terms of this condition, it has helped me look at things differently, and it has made me more resilient, definitely.
Nice. Really, again, lovely messaging here, Aday, as well. This is called post-traumatic growth.
Okay.
Okay. When we go through trauma, when we come out the other side, it can we can get growth. We can see a complete change in ourselves. We have an opportunity. Hindsight's a great thing. Oh, look, I recognize some of this. Maybe I'm a bit tired. Maybe I've traveled too much. Maybe I'm enjoying myself a little bit too much. Okay, that happens. Now let's move on. And you're in that phase right now. One of the nice things about post-traumatic growth is when you come back and you start teaching other people about it, it reinforces that growth again. So that circle is now complete for you, Aday. So yeah, well done, mate. I'm really proud. I'm super proud of where you are now.
Thank you, Karl. And really, I know I've told you this privately many times, but you were a huge help to me. And
Thank
I think it's not just your techniques, and that obviously you went through even worse than I went through. I know your story. And you came out of it and decided to do all this and help others, which is amazing. Um, but you are such a genuinely nice guy, and therefore I found it very easy to trust you. And the minute I trust you, the belief system comes in. So luckily, you were also right.
That helps.
That helps. So it all fits in. So I really want to thank you again and say that if you are going through this condition, you have found and you've gone through the medical clearance, and you really are just going through what I went through and what many others have gone through right now. I'm sorry, and I hope you get through it very quickly. But do the techniques that you're being shown by Karl and believe them, and you will get through it.
Lovely messaging there. Thank you, Aday. And thank you. I'm incredibly humbled. This is the reason I do what I do. And it fills me with so much joy and pleasure and reward every day. It's not easy because it's really tough going through this and walking and supporting patients through it. But yeah, thank you very much for your kind words, for your honesty. It's a pleasure to catch up with you again. And yeah, here we are 1 year on from when we last met, and you're doing amazing. So keep up the good work. I know everyone else out there who's listening to this and watching this will find your words incredibly reassuring and comforting. So thank you once again. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Karl, and good luck to everyone, and believe.